just a few seconds left.
It's never been done.
5:30, we'll call the November 17th meeting of the Whitley County Consolidated Schools Board of Trustees to order. And the first item on the agenda is wonderful. We have a group from Northern Heights here to lead the pledge for us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Michelle, can they come around and shake our hands? Would they be okay with that?
Scared.
Oh.
Scary.
Thank you for coming tonight. So much.
Thank you. Great job.
Awesome job.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You guys sound
An
good.
awesome job.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Wonderful job.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here this evening and for participating. Next item on the agenda is Northern Heights Elementary School presentation. Michelle? Sure.
Oh, she's ready. All right, thank you so much for having us this evening. We're very excited to share with you about some of the things that are happening at Northern Heights. I have with me tonight volunteers from Purdue Extension. I've got Todd Geiger, Stacy Geiger, and Candy Schroff. And then I have 5 first grade students. Now, the thing that you're going to hear about, they actually did at the end of last year, though. I have Eli Zettler, Piper Oosley, Kinsley Patton, Becca Sims, and Athena Zeems, who are going to help me out. And I'm going to turn it over to Todd.
Well, first off, just want to say thank you. It's been a great opportunity to partner with Northern Heights and their kindergarten teachers this past May, along with Mrs. Birch. We rolled out a brand new program to them that we built really with the intent to give students and kids in school maybe a unique experience by kind of mashing up topics, subject areas that they're working on in school to give them a hands-on experience in the classroom by bringing in different supplies and materials that we were able to provide through a donation through a sponsor. So the kids had something cool and unique that related exactly to what they were doing in the classroom. And then we were able to do a showcase for them during our actual fair week. So like Michelle shared, our staff was along with us. So Stacy and Candy are our program assistants, and Purdue Extension works specifically with our 4-H youth development program. So what we built was our Class to Clover program, where we go into the classroom 4 different times to roll out 2 topics or 2 projects, if you will. We started each time we started a new topic, we started with a read aloud book with the kids that connected to what they were doing. For example, one was on plant life and forestry. So that was really cool because Northern Heights has their own nature preserve right there on the property. So we read the book and then we took the kids right outside, walked the nature trail. All the kids got a little bag, and the goal was to find some form of plant life or something that came from plant life preferably on the ground. And then they would put that in their bag. And then we came back and we talked about those, and the kids were able to put that together on a poster, identify what it is that they had found. So they had a cool display. Another item that or another topic that we did was recycling. Recycling is big, may even be even larger in these kids' generation. So we took t-shirts and the kids cut them up and turned them into reusable bags. And we also talked about wildlife and mammals. Part of that is we talked about the animals that live in Indiana and across the Midwest. Kids were able to select which ones they really liked. They colored those and put those on a poster. And then I'm sure most of their favorite was they selected an animal that we had available, and we bought Lego kits for all the kids, and they were able to assemble those and put those together, and were able to display those. So kids to go around and yeah, so we got a couple of pictures. This was us kicking off two of those topics with a read aloud book. We had some other volunteers that came along and helped us those days. We were able to go into 2 classrooms at one time. So we had 4 people there. So that was a great opportunity. I think the teachers got a lot out of it, as well as the kids. Again, just trying to provide an opportunity where we can make that connection partnership with the schools, and hopefully bring a little bit different experience for the kids right there in the classroom. So this slide just kind of highlights the different topic areas and then what the kids actually were able to create project wise.
Show, what did you make?
I made a seal.
What did you make?
I made a snake. I made a seal. I made a fish.
All right, and then we had for forestry, hold on, take a step back. We practice differently at school, so we're rearranging. I forgot about the microphone. All right, Eli, why don't you tell them what you did with your poster? Where'd you go?
I went in the forest behind my school and I found a big leaf, a pine cone, a flower, and a 4-leaf clover.
Who did you go with? Who did you walk around with in the forest area?
My best friend.
Your best friend. And then this is an example of the recycling with a t-shirt. Whose t-shirt is that?
It's not my dad's.
Oh,
That-
sorry.
I
Do you have a
forgot.
t-shirt and explain what you did? Show it to him.
I made a shirt to a bag.
To a bag. And what did you do with the bottom?
I tied it to the bottom.
Yeah. And what do you plan on putting in there?
Toys.
Toys. Okay. First go to the t-shirt down, sweetheart. Can you guys put your Legos up on the side there? Can you tell them what you researched? Yeah, right there. What did you research?
I researched a bunny, a bobcat, and a deer. The bunny eats plants and carrots. And the bobcat eats meat. And the deer eats plants too.
What did you research?
I researched a deer, a chipmunk, and a bunny.
And what did you learn?
I learned that deers live in the woods, they eat grass and berries, and chipmunks live in the woods and they eat nuts and berries, and then bunnies live in the woods and they eat grass.
And where did you research your material? Where'd you find that information?
In a book,
In the books? Did you get on the internet or just the books?
just the books. I researched a deer, a fox, and a rabbit. The deer lives in the woods and they eat plants, and the fox lives in the den and they eat mice, and the rabbit lives in the woods and they eat plants.
Piper, what did you research?
I researched a possum, a bobcat, and a wolf.
I think we got all of them.
So yeah, I didn't want to steal any of the kids' thunder. I wanted them to kind of go more in depth on what we did and how we connected those different topics and went even further than just selecting pictures of animals and things like that. The other really exciting thing that we did is we wrapped up somewhere around the middle of May. So we actually boxed and collected all the projects from all 4 kindergarten classrooms. And then we stored them at the extension office. And then as July rolled around, we got them out and we set up a special showcase for them actually during the week of fair in the 4-H center so that the whole community could walk through and see. And we got them a custom ribbon. So all the kids had a little prize or reward for the hard work that they'd put in with us over the month of May. So that was really exciting to be able to do, but just a neat opportunity that we were just trying to provide kids right here in Whitley County something to connect and something that maybe a little bit out of the norm of what they do in school and more hands-on and tangible way, and then give them that opportunity to showcase that as well.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
I wondered if, were you able to do this with any of the other schools or are you planning to?
So yeah, very loaded question. So as you can see, we are a staff of 3. Both of our ladies are part-time in our office, so really 2 total people. So a program I'd wanted to create for, I would say, better part of over a year. Finally got it rolled out. I know I was late in the year. I think I might have reached out to Michelle and maybe right before spring break. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, we want this. Can you do it yet this school year? And I was not thinking that direction. I was thinking more like this school year, but I'm like, sure, let's give it a try. So we felt it went great. Definitely something we would offer to the other schools. Had the opportunity 2 weeks ago to go up and talk to Smith Green Schools at actually one of their staff meetings. They had come to one of our extension events where we do power of partnering with Purdue Extension and just sharing with community partners and other folks on what we do and what we have to offer. The principal was there and he's like, oh my gosh, everything here on the display that you got, we love. Can you come and just bring it all? He's like, I don't want to regurgitate everything that you're telling me, just come up and you share. So we had the opportunity to go up there and share with their staff. And really since that moment, our email has been blowing up, wanting different things. So obviously everything that we provided there is not free. The Lego kits are expensive and things like that. But thankfully this past year through the Ryder Schroe 4-H youth development funds that were provided by that family, we were able to do that for free for the kids. So, and we already have sponsorship this year that we could actually serve up to 200 kids with this program. So the support's been great. Absolutely.
Other
And
questions?
We
Go
thank
ahead.
our partnership with Todd and with the extension office. We take advantage of a lot of their programs. I told him he has to try everything out on us first before he can go anywhere else. But no, they come up and do STEM activities with our kids with all the grade levels. So we are really spoiled with his services and what that group does. And all the volunteers are really good. They were really good with the kids. So we thank him. Any other questions?
Thank you. Seriously, I'm watching this, just the interaction and just tremendous. So I didn't even know this was going on. So this is all new to me. So just ecstatic.
Well, we thank all of you for coming this evening. It's not easy to get up and talk in front of people. And so you did a wonderful job. Really appreciate you sharing. And yes, we truly appreciate you can tell there's no small amount of effort that went into this. And so we really appreciate that partnership.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is celebrations, which I think we kind of just had one.
I guess I'll lead us off. It's the month of thankfulness. So I guess seeing that was great. I would just want to thank the staff and volunteers and everybody else involved. So that was great.
I'll chime in with congratulations to another fine arts production this past weekend. It never ceases to amaze me, the talent that we have and the great leadership in our fine arts program.
Other celebrations.
Good evening, Jennifer Reef, Director of Innovation and Career Tech Ed. Would just like to celebrate that we have just been recognized from Ivy Tech that our EMT program will now be dual credit credentialed. Just as a reminder, that credentialing process is tied directly to the instructor. So when instructors leave, and they do, we have to start the process all over again, and it is 100% tied to that person's credentials. So Paige Phelps was unable to stay with us this last year, so we hired Blake Forrester and went through that process. So the students that are in his class programs, including EMT, as well as principles of healthcare, will now be eligible for dual credits at the collegiate level. EMT specifically is worth 8 credits for that class that we offer at Columbia City. Thank you.
Jake.
Brady Mullet, Columbia City High School. I also, yes, the musical was wonderful. I want to celebrate that. Kids put in a whole lot of time and effort, and they just did a fabulous job. Who knew that all of the princesses and Britney Spears music would align up like that? I didn't think it would, but it did. I also want to celebrate our Spell Bowl team, Dennis Beckner. If you haven't known this, we have a bit of a legacy here, and just that we have been, I think it's 8 or 9 times straight conference champ, and they took a team to state. And so I just want to celebrate him. This is his last year, so it's gonna be really hard to replace and to find somebody to replace him. But I just want to congratulate all the kids. Also we are getting ready to start all of our winter sports, and it's a busy time down right now. We are winding down, but getting ready to ramp back up. So I'm thankful for a season of thanks. As Chad, as you mentioned, I'm thankful for our teachers and our staff and our community and our parents, and just we have something special here. And I just want to not only celebrate all the opportunities that we have for all of our kids in our communities, but just thankful for the school and this community. Thank you.
Just gonna squeeze in here. Thank you for hearing them. They were so excited and so nervous. I want to extend a huge thank you hand to the high school. I have 2 5th grade boys who struggle with school. School's hard for them. And I've heard in the conversation, I don't want to be in school anymore. I don't want to be in school anymore. And talking with parents and working with them, we were trying to figure out what to do to help keep them motivated. And we arranged with Mrs. Reef last week, and they, on Friday, went and we had all of the CTE classes, and I knew what they're interested in, but they rolled out the red carpet for these 2 boys. So Mr. Wool and Mrs. Rubin, my guidance counselor, and Dean went and took their parents and themselves to construction, automotive, welding, engineering, and fire. Those were the ones that they chose. And they have a renewed energy for school, even though it's so hard for them. And I know they're only 5th graders, but I'm trying to give some hope for them, of them so excited to be able to do that. And I wish you could have seen their faces, and they ran back to my office and were so excited to tell me. And it warmed my heart. The parents were so thankful, and they're excited. They're excited to get to do what they want to do. And it even changed some of the things that they want to do. One of them, I think, wants to go into construction now. So it was welding. The other one was automotive. But yes, so it was I want to thank them for the red carpet that they whirled out for them, and a renewed hope for those 2 5th graders as they get older. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Other celebrations? Okay. Laura, I think you have an introduction to make.
I do. It's my pleasure to introduce, and I'm going to call her up here in just a minute, Regina Glaza, who is our new communications coordinator. Now, Regina comes to us actually from Burr Oak Community Schools in Burr Oak, Michigan, where she was working for a K-12 district. Regina also founded and has a patent on watercolors that she developed and a palette that she did. So her creative side is there. And she developed and marketed it all online. So she has all of that background. And so she has agreed to come work with us. She's also wife to our wonderful radio personality, Mr. Jordan Glaza, and everything that he's done there. And hasn't been with us for very long, but I tell you what, she came in this morning and she already had a list of ideas. And she was trying to tamp down her excitement because of all this brainstorming she did over the weekend. So I can't wait to see what we're gonna have. But Regina, I want to give you the opportunity to come up and say hello.
Hello. I brought my other half with me. So when you get one Glaza, you get them all, I guess. You're doing a very dangerous thing here. Not really. I was with Jordan when you first brought him on to the radio program. I don't know how many of you were here. There was a lot of questions whether or not the radio was going to survive, if it was going to shut down, and now it's thriving. Students have voices. The community is involved. They rely on this service. And I'm really excited to see what we can do with the media program. Bring student voices out, staff input and oversight. We have a lot of experts on campus. I have a short list of my dream team. So very excited to be here, and I will try not to talk your ears off, but there's a lot of inspiration at the school. So thank you.
Welcome. Next item is on the agenda is public comment. Peter?
Name's Peter Ganger. Last time we cut off with money. Money. How can you receive $50+ million between grants and what you get paid for by the state and not be able to run a school corporation? Y'all got lawsuits, and I've pointed out the fact that you're going to lose them. You will. Specifically, Ms. Devine. The same court cases and laws that I cited to you, Mr. Smith, were the ones cited in the lawsuit, as well as a few others. And unless their attorney is completely incompetent, they will win, because the black and white reading of the law is on their side. Now, how many times were you told when you were kids to quit digging when you got in trouble? Quit digging that hole. And that's all you're doing, is digging it deeper and deeper, because you're going to lose it. And then you're going to end up paying for both sets of lawyers. Tens and tens of thousands of dollars you do not have to spend. And you're going to end up with the same result either way. So what's more responsible? Owning up to the fact you screwed up and fixing it, just like you would expect any kid to do, or are you going to act like the bully and the kid that doesn't know what right looks like and keep dragging this out? And then you complain about not having enough money for the 2027 school year and looking to impose some special tax to get that money. All over a policy that has no place in the realm of law. Now, that being said, why aren't you looking to cut the fat and get the 2027 school year budget straightened out before we get down to the nitty gritty and crunch time? I've seen nothing. I'm not saying you haven't done anything, but I've seen nothing. cut the fat. Watch where you need to spend and where you want to spend is a difference. You should know this, sir. You know the difference between needing and having to have. But y'all can't seem to figure this out. Why? Is it because you're so scared of doing what is right that you're willing to let money fly out the window just because you're scared of admitting you screwed up? What's it gonna take? Why should we keep spending money or giving you more money when the top 4 administrators in this room, if you cut their salary down to $100,000, you could give every teacher an average raise of between $475 and $525. And the administrators are the ones in charge and responsible for the school, not the teachers.
That concludes public comment. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda.
I move that we approve consent items.
I second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Are any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I do. On the personnel,
Sure.
okay, there were 17 people listed for the ECA, which is extracurricular activity. What are those individuals paid since they're not volunteers?
I don't.
We're not going
have
to have that
information
information
with
here,
me.
Kate. That'll have to be followed up on.
Okay.
That's the kind of information that you'd need to ask ahead of time if you want it presented here at the meeting,
Oh, okay.
which is fine. I mean, we can do that, absolutely. Any other questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Kate is opposed. Everyone else is in favor. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, it's action item. It's for approval of the school calendar for 2026-2027. Discussed this at the work session. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding it?
I would just like to say some of the things I heard, and by the way, great job by Mr. Slater for doing. I do want to say that's really one of the hardest things to listen to a lot of people about a calendar. The only thing I want to ask, and maybe we can do a study or something, is the fall break. It's something I heard from some folks, from parents and some staff and some others, but I don't know if we're going to do a full week or not. I just want to keep that on the board's mind that it has been brought up. I know Warsaw just switched to having a full week fall break, something I enjoy, but I don't know if this community wants it or not. I know the study might have been a couple years old or something. So just the only thought, I like it as is. It's great. I just thought maybe it's time for a full week's fall break, but I don't know. Something to think about.
Certainly something to keep in mind as we move forward.
I just
Thank you
wanted
for bringing that up.
just want to thank Seth for working on that. He spearheaded that. So thank you, Seth.
You know.
Well, aren't you now responsible for the fact that your kids have to go to school on Halloween?
I caught some flack this year. Why do we have to go back to school on Friday? It's a great question. We are not doing that in next year's calendar, right?
It's on a Saturday.
It's on Saturday.
Any other questions, comments? If there are none, entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion to approve the 26-27 year calendar.
A second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. It's the end of action items, general information. Seth, synchronous learning.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Smith. We just want to provide a really quick update. We sent out some information last week about synchronous learning, just to, again, to share some information with families, essentially in terms of what it is and what kind of what our motive or rationale is for utilizing synchronous learning. So again, just kind of looking back, we've been one-to-one for almost a decade now. And really post-COVID, most school districts in the state, a lot of school districts in the region have kind of walked away from the traditional e-learning, do it at your own pace approach, and sort of taken advantage of or utilized the opportunity provided by the state for synchronous learning as sort of the substitute for e-learning and the substitute for extending the school year and utilizing your school closings. So the calendar kind of reflects this, and I think the calendar is kind of a nice tie-in. One of the challenges that we always face is starting as late as possible and ending as early as possible. And in order to do that, we've got to either remove snow days or think creatively in other ways. So synchronous learning gives us an opportunity to do that live instruction. It is better than e-learning in the sense that there is a real teacher, there is real engagement, real conversation with an adult. Kids have an opportunity to collaborate. Kids have an opportunity to work with one another in this environment. And again, it's different than just being at home for the day. You know, you do lose some things regardless. You know, the best environment for teaching is to make sure kids are in front of the teacher, ideally in person. And so you do lose that with the e-learning or the synchronous learning format. But this opportunity at least provides us that opportunity to see teachers, to talk, to have that opportunity to communicate and to share. And it does it in a format we believe that is going to be, I'm going to say, similar to e-learning. The difference is they'll be live and online, kind of working through that content rather than just expected to understand it on their own, which again is a common complaint against parents or for parents that I don't know how to teach this, and yet I have to teach this on an e-learning day. So we shared last week some information. I know Dr. McDermott's going to talk a little bit about school closings and delays and just sort of what winter weather looks like for us. We also shared in that email, there's a link to some guidance information from parents. There's some links back to the website. Schools will be sharing this out more specifically for their individual buildings too. What does synchronous learning look like at the elementary versus the middle school versus the high school? So what those schedules are there. But just wanted to kind of briefly share tonight that this is something we are implementing for any school closing beginning December 1st. So following Thanksgiving break, we'll begin utilizing synchronous learning for closings. Again, the goal is not to do it for a week at a time. So we'll have to look at weather and kind of see what that looks like. But if we can balance 2 in a row with a traditional closing, we do have some snow makeup days built into our calendar still this year. And then try to find some balance this year and then think about what that looks into next year's calendar and beyond. We'll certainly do that. But just some information that we're going to begin this for any closing beginning December 1st.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How do we handle homes which do not have very good internet, mine included?
Yeah, the e-learning kind of presented the same challenge to us. COVID presented the same challenge to us. So flexibility is really how we handle that. Recognizing that there are situations where families won't be able to do it. So teachers will be recording part of their instructional day that they'll then post on Google Classroom for students to watch at a later time. You mentioned that. We also have some families that are in like Y-Care. And historically, Y-Care hasn't done a lot with e-learning. This year, they'll be hosting Y-Care at Little Turtle. I know Mrs. Smith is going to be sharing some information with families. So Little Turtle will be a site for Y-Care families for that whole day. So they are able to support almost 200 kids across the district for that. But it'll be, the lessons will be recorded. Teachers will provide some flexibility the following day. Much of the instruction is not going to be new. It'll be a review of the prior day. So kids aren't necessarily losing out on new instruction, but they are losing out on opportunity for review and probably some of those conversations. So teachers will be more flexible on the back end of that.
Thank you.
Seth, along those same lines, there's a lot of what ifs. What if there's a family? What if there's a family? But in the case where, let's say the kids are at a daycare that isn't Y or there just is not an opportunity for them to be involved in the synchronous learning. I know that there's a backup plan for that. And I believe it's that they will be recorded. So then perhaps maybe that evening with the family, they can log on, or a similar situation where perhaps they didn't realize there was going to be bad weather and they don't have their device with them. So if you can just kind of run through how those would be handled.
Yeah, and it's exactly like that. I mean, it's the same question if they don't have internet at home. As long as we can post that content and make it available to students, that's what matters. You know, the state mandate from an attendance perspective does not require that 100% of our students are present for 100% of the time. And the way that the schedule is built, especially for the elementary, is there will be instruction and then there will be independent work time. The middle school, the high school are going to be kind of the same way. There will be some independent collaborative time as well. So again, just, you know, we're not looking at from a synchronous day. I'm looking at, you know, Indian Springs' schedule. In that 35-minute class period, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of it is instructional. So from a makeup standpoint, to do it later, to watch that video later, it should not be this huge undertaking for families. But again, being able to post it so they can access it later is the goal.
What kind of communication are we gonna have with parents on this going forward? I mean, where do we describe what's gonna happen and what their responsibility is as parents in our corporation?
On the guidance document I sent out, there's actually a nice guidance in terms of what the expectation is for parents, and we'll send that out. We probably should send it out. Schools should send it out the day we call one, right? Too, so that way that information is shared. Schools will also be doing some of those communication pieces from the buildings. Teachers at the elementary special, especially, will be doing that communication and sharing what that day will look like for their classrooms, much like they did with e-learning. And kids are already preparing. And we've done some practice in our schools. I think in almost every one of our schools and classrooms, we've already done some practice periods, so that way kids know how to access Google Meet, they know how to access Google Classroom, they know how to log on independently. And hopefully, you know, from that scenario, students are able to alleviate some of those concerns from parents that, how do I do this? I've never logged into a Chromebook. Well, their students do it frequently, so they should be able to help. Yeah. But it's a great question. And I think the answer is we just need to continue to repeat it, especially until it becomes routine or normal. You know, it's hard telling what this winter weather will look like. So we may use it, we may not. But when we do, I think we need to, again, send some reminders out as to what that looks like.
I think it's also important to keep in mind, a lot of people are upset. People want the old snow days or no school. I think the alternative, and I don't know this specifically, but I remember Cherubusco specifically, I'll never forget this, that they were going to school in June on Saturdays up for a while. And I think this is not the best for anyone, but I think we have to make and look at these kind of things. At least the community, I hope, understands that no one wants to do synchronous learning. I can speak as a teacher. I don't want to do that, but if it means we're not going to school in June on Saturdays or stay until 4 or 5 o'clock, we've had some crazy scenarios, and it's not always something that we as a school get to decide. A lot of this is because the state kind of changes things on us a little bit. So I know this isn't ideal. I know I heard a lot of people complaining, well, why don't we just have old snow days? Sometimes it's not really feasible. I hope we can communicate that to our parents too.
Yeah, and synchronous learning allows us to protect our calendar as best as possible too. So graduation doesn't change, pre-planned holidays and vacations don't change. So it gives us a little more control over what the school year looks like.
Other questions? Thank you for your work on this. Dr. McDermott, weather delays and closures.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, board members. I just wanted to remind everybody the process for making those decisions. So our transportation director, Lyle Kumichael, along with 2 or 3 other individuals, start driving the roads when it looks like it might be a little dicey at 4:30 a.m. And they're out on the roads until we make a call around 5:30, 5:45. And while they're in communication with law enforcement, county, city, highway department, other school districts, we have to base our decision on our road conditions. And that's why they're out there in all parts of the county determining what those road conditions are. We do try to keep schools open as much as we can because we're providing breakfast and lunch for a lot of kids. We're providing supervision that they might not have at home, a warm place to be. So we want to make sure as much as we can that we keep those schools open. We also respect choice for parents. If they decide that it's not safe for their child, they are welcome to keep their child at home and report that absence to us. And we'll work with them to get that work made up.
Questions, comments? We'll turn it over to grant from the Don Wood Foundation. You get to be on the podium twice.
Twice. But again, I'm celebrating every time. It's a great place to be. Jennifer Reef, Director of Innovation and Career Tech Ed here for the district. We are passing out a handout to you because you know how I feel that you need to have a visual with you as well as something to take away so that as you talk to our community, you have information in front of you. So Mrs. Hewer and I, Lori Hewer, our Talent Development Director, wrote a grant to the Don Wood Foundation as part of their rolling grant cycle. And as you see their overview, and I'm just going to paraphrase as I go, is really to continue the work that we've already been doing. Utilizing the Eagle Pride program. And remember, the PRIDE is an acronym standing for persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and efficiency. And we do that pre-K through 12. We have a number of specific activities kids do called essential experiences in every grade level to again incorporate work ethics, skill development, career exploration, experiences, and online tools for building their self-knowledge of strengths and interests, culminating in that work-based learning or capstone experience at the high school. As you heard Michelle talk a little bit before, it was great to have two fifth graders come to our programs and have the kids as well as the instructors share what is an opportunity for them when they get a little bit older. It's also an opportunity for us to instill and continue to instill attendance is important. Your grades are important. How you work with other kids on the playground or in class is important. So we continue to reinforce that as we go forward. So we were able to write a grant and be recipients of a grant that helps us continue this work. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori to talk about our budget.
Thank you. As Jennifer said, we're not starting anything new. This is just a continuation and being able to allow us to continue the work that's been going on. So this grant is targeted at continuing our Ford NGL coaching. So we'll have those coaches that work with us to continue the work that we're doing in academies, to continue the work with the PRIDE program and the essential experiences. It also involves some programmatic software. Those are programs that we already have that are in place. The Zello that you have heard us talk about that the students do the exploration activities is budgeted into this. Marketing and partnership expenses for all of those breakfast meetings that we have where we invite our partners in. So this is going to allow us to have the funding to continue that. Support staff and mileage to help us keep this work going out to visit students, visit the different programs. Substitute teacher expenses for our CTE professional development. So giving the teachers time to collaborate, to work, to build those relationships, to foster those student experiences. We have some pay built in that we can allow some release time for teachers to do some of that. Curricular resources and equipment, we have some built into this grant as well. The governor's work ethics supplies, so continue that program at the high school level to recognize the work ethics of our high school students, and then the PRIDE micro-credentialing in pre-K through 8. So all of those things are things that are currently going on. We just wrote this grant to supplement those expenses.
And just as a follow-up, our specific grant outcomes that we wrote in were 100% of our students in grades PK to 12 will complete grade level specific career exploration modules each academic year. Those, of course, specifically tied to where they're at fundamentally. We're not asking any kindergartner or first grader to pick their career, nor are we even asking a high school kid for that matter. We're asking what do they want to learn about and how do they learn best. 95% of students in grades PK to 12 will participate and document their one required essential experience each year in a digital portfolio or tracking system, really trying to capture that reflection piece. What did you learn? Did it reinforce what you already thought? Did it change your mind? Again, building that experience portfolio in their brain as well as on paper to reflect back to when Lori meets with them when they're seniors. And then by the end of each school year, 100% of our students will have the opportunity to earn micro-credentials aligned to our Eagle Pride work ethic qualities of persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and efficiency. Again, you hear about those as the elementaries, the middle school, and the high school talk about their different activities, continue to reinforce how our students work. We hear it time and time again in talking to our community partners. Our kids are recognized and sought after, honestly, because of their work ethic and because we make sure that our kids are ready before we put them out into the workforce and out of the classroom to be able to do that. So again, having this work K to 12 just reinforces that as we see them at that graduate level. So, and if you have any questions, of course, our contact information is there. What questions do you have?
How much was this grant for?
I was waiting for that, Jill. We originally, I'm going to celebrate this fact, we originally wrote it for $381,200 and we received $400,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we are the first district to ask for, I guess I'll call it a slush fund. But basically, as we wrote the grant, many other opportunities came up between the time we wrote the grant and the time that we got this information. And I said, we need something more fluid so that we don't have to say no to activities and opportunities that come up on the fly. So they recognize that. They will continue to house some of those dollars so that we just apply for them as we need it. But they were very intrigued by the opportunity to have something that's a little bit more immediate than here's a grant for the next 2 years. So.
Great.
Other questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment, more of a thank you to the Donwood Foundation for supporting us like this. I really appreciate it. I can't speak for the whole board, but I can't imagine that they don't. And I would really be willing to send them a thank you from the board.
Thank you.
Appreciate the effort. We know money's going to be tight. And so work like this helps us continue the wonderful things that you're already doing and other things in the future. And I would also say our relationship with the Donwood Foundation at times has been tense. And so the work that you've done to reestablish that and the obvious trust that they're now showing in us is wonderful to see. So thank you for all that. Next item is parent-teacher conference attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm going to round it out with another just good report. Average attendance at the elementaries was 92% or higher. We had many classrooms where 100% of the parents attended. So that was great. Indian Springs and Columbia City High School both used a similar approach where they invited parents, families for students who exhibiting some signs of being at risk. And they personally invited those parents to come in for a conference, and they had pretty good attendance. The Indian Springs had about 65% of those parents come in. And then Columbia City High School had about 50%, well, a little more than 50% of those parents come in. So they really had a pretty good turnout. They also offered an open house in both buildings for parents who just wanted to come in and touch base, and they had pretty good attendance for that as well. So I want to thank all 6 of our buildings for their efforts, our teachers as well. Those are long nights after long days preparing. So I appreciate their efforts, but really good turnout. Thank you.
Any questions? It's great to hear the numbers. Thank you. That concludes our agenda. Next work session is December 1st. Next board meeting is December 15th. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.